Happy Friday, August 14th, 2020. Welcome to the 3 things I learned in SaaS, sports, tech, and live events for the week. Number 1, the road to mediocrity is smooth, easy, and paved with happy customers. These are customers who always like to hear from you, never push you to do any better. They love the product that you have. They're effusive in praise, but they're never asking for anything. And by asking for something, I mean doing it in a respectful way, treating you like a partner. And yes, it's a partnership, though they are the customer, so we do what they say. Now, how are we that kind of customer to people that are outside? We try to understand the roadmap of the business that we're working in. We make sure there's no threats. There's no, hey, we're not going to renew if you don't do this, that sort of thing. That's not constructive. That doesn't help anybody get the place they want to go. There's a belief that the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and that's kind of true. But the squeaky wheel gets the grease when we're all tied together and trying to fix it in the appropriate way. Otherwise, you find yourself in a situation where you have a company that has a lot of customers who are happy, but they're not pushing the envelope. And the next thing you know, they're leaving for the next company, the one who stretched and created a better product. Number 2, everything looks easy once it's done right because the best make it look easy. Whether this is sports, product, business, anything else, when you look at somebody who's truly great in something, and when you look at Steph Curry roll off a pick and bury a 3, or LeBron James barrel down a lane and find somebody, they make it look so easy. And we think, I can go do that, and then we go try to do it at our rec league, and it ends poorly. Easy is easy, simple is really hard. The 3 things are a core example of this. 10, 15 years ago, when we were starting this business, I would get advice from people who have done this before, and a lot of times they give the advice, and I'd say, that's so simple. Like, I would have figured that out myself. It's the same thing as Apple's simple products. People look at the iOS and what they've done with their tools and what they've done with their products and think, oh, that's easy to rip off. Right? That wasn't that hard to come up in the first place. It's led to very expensive lawsuits across the board. But the reality is, easy is very hard. 2 really simple examples from here. 1, we have a salesperson who's been here since the beginning, one of the best salespeople we have. Makes it look easy, everything they do. But I know it's not, because I watched them bang out the calls. I watched them work super hard, not make the excuse that they're working smarter, not harder, because they realized that the more and more they did it, the more and more they understood what the objections could be, the more they understood how to approach the market. And they had a lot of success with that. And we can all relate to it. Another example is networks, right? A lot of times there's you know everybody because, of some kind of you were born into it or privilege, or you did that, or so you did that. Building a network is a really difficult thing. I mean, the people who I know in this business who have the best, deepest networks are always the ones who are the most available. They're the ones who are at the conferences and shows. They're the ones who are reaching out when they don't need something. Not in a situation when they need a job or they need something. They're just building it up. So the reality and the learning here is when you find somebody who makes something look easy, whether it's sales, building a product, implementing customers, or any of those things, get as close to them as you can. Either work for them, take investment from them, hire them, or work with them. Whatever you can do to stick with people who make it look easy, because really difficult things made easy is expertise. And finally, number 3, large deals never feel real. And it's always a very strange thing. So this is tied to sales, and it also works for raising capital and some of the other things you do in your life, like finding a job, etc. A lot of times the biggest deals come from very strange places, and they seem like they're not the case. So let me give you an example. One of our larger customers we met because we had a beer just networking, back to the point of number 2 of just building our network. Somebody was in town at a customer that we knew, and we went and we met with them. There was nothing to gain from it. This was somebody that was probably going to come across us in business later. We had a couple of beers together. And we got a phone call about a year later with this massive opportunity that they were tied to. And we just thought, there's no way this could actually end up with us. Right? We've had this happen a number of times in our business. But we put our best foot forward. And we continued to do that. Anytime an opportunity like that came forward, even if it didn't seem all that real. And it turned out that was one of our largest customers. So let me give you a real example. Our seed round. So when we were raising our first round of capital in 2010, we went through an entire process. We were introduced to a number of investors, a number of VCs, mostly through somebody we knew. So a lawyer would make an introduction, or a business partner, or a customer, or an advisor, or whatever else. And we just thought that that's where our deal would come from. And we had this lawyer who entered us in it was like a contest back in Baltimore for startups. There was no real winner. It was just if you got picked, you had the opportunity to present to a bunch of VCs and investors. And we were already pretty much done with our round. And we flew out there and we did our presentation. We met a bunch of funds. And about a week later, we're already close to term sheet with a number of our investors. We get a phone call from a very large private equity fund in Boston who's way too big for us. And they tell us that much, that they're way too big for us. But they know somebody who might be interested. And they set up a call. Again, putting our best foot forward whenever we could. So we talked to this investor who was not at the show, had not seen our presentation, and was taking this from somebody who saw somebody who was there. Guess who ended up being our seed round investor? So you're going to kiss a lot of frogs before you find Prince or Princess Charming. That's going to happen, especially with big deals. What's most important learning here is make sure that you're always putting your best foot forward. When they don't work out, when they are bogus, don't make it a situation where that stops you from putting forward the best effort. And that goes for just about anything, whether that's a job interview, a friendship, or a networking meetup. That's it for this week. We'll talk to you guys again next week. Thanks.